Hey, what's up, VC? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel, and it's time for another quick video. So I'm going to be doing a response to Andy from Andy's Vinyl Bin. His See You on the Funny Papers 500 subs contest. So first and foremost, congrats on the 500 subs, Andy. If you guys aren't subscribed to his channel, I'll put a link down below. He listens to a pretty broad range of music, a lot of the same type of stuff that I like. So if you're subscribed to me, you should be subscribed to him. A lot of hard rock, heavy metal, and country as well, which I'm also into. I don't do enough country videos, to be perfectly honest. But so I haven't been doing contest entries for a couple reasons. Number one, there's just so many of them, it seems like lately, and with the limited time that I have with the new job that I have, it's hard for me to do the contest entries and not do the regular videos that people are asking for. So but this one I really wanted to do, not just to support Andy's idea of doing a comic book, but I also really like the contest. He wanted us to tell a story just about an experience that we've had that's related to music, whether it's vinyl, a record store, or a show that we've been to. And this has just always been a cool story. I've told it before, but I took my girlfriend to see Primus, and it was in, let me think. So the show was on, what was it, August 22nd, 1995. I went with a girlfriend, my girlfriend at the time, whose name was Jennifer Lovetoy. No, I'm not making that up. That was her actual name. Love was her middle name, Jennifer Lovetoy. And she was affectionately known as Lovetoy. But really cool girl. But she wasn't a big fan of Primus, but she had heard a couple of their songs and kind of dug them. She was more into that era of punk, so she was kind of into NoFX. Green Day had only been around for a couple of years, so the early Green Day stuff. She was more into that kind of stuff. So when she heard songs like Here Come the Bastards and Jerry Was a Race Car Driver, they definitely had a kind of a punk feel to them. So she kind of liked that stuff. So she went to the concert with me. Now the opening act was Mike Watt. If you're not familiar with Mike Watt, he was the bassist from the Minutemen, an amazing punk band, who oddly enough, their singer died not too far from where this show was in Mesa, Arizona. He died right outside of Phoenix, if I remember correctly, in a van accident. But regardless, Mike Watt takes the stage. He's singing, he's on bass, he's got a guitar player and then two drummers. I don't know what he was thinking or what he's doing. The guy is amazingly talented, but with the two drummers, it just sounded like shit. It sounded terrible. And immediately the place just erupted in boos. They were throwing bottles at the state, water bottles. Obviously they didn't give us glass, thankfully, but everybody was throwing bottles at the stage. He was getting pelted. He tried to keep going. He stopped whenever he got everybody to calm down, and they started again, and it sounded just as bad. So they got booed again, and he loses it on stage and starts going off about how we don't know who we're messing with. He's an old school punk. He'll come out and fuck up every one of us in the audience, and which almost turned the place almost rioted when that started. So you know, within a couple of minutes, somebody from the radio station that was sponsoring it, was probably 98 KUPD that was sponsoring it. I don't remember off the top of my head, but they were the only the only hard rock and metal station at the time. I think Z-Rock was already gone at that point. Regardless, they pull him off the stage. We thought we were going to have to wait there for another hour for Primus to come on, but Primus went ahead and moved up their set. and you know, they played some videos, maybe 10 or 15 minutes of videos, and then Primus came out, and they tear into "Here Come the Bastards," which is one of my favorite Primus songs. We're getting into it. Les is playing that killer custom 6-string bass that he has, that fretless bass that he was really famous for at the time. He still pulls it out from time to time, but not like he did back then. And he's just tearing into it, getting into it. The crowd's going crazy, and then people start throwing bottles again. I don't know what they were thinking, and one of the bottles hit his bass, and Les Claypool stops in the middle of the song, and he basically says if another bottle hits him, his bass, or comes anywhere near him, the show's over. With the first band already getting booed off, it would have turned into an absolute riot if that would have happened. So everybody kind of calmed down. A couple more bottles were thrown, but none of them hit Les or his bass. So he was cool. So he tears into the set. And man, if you guys have never seen Les Claypool in any of his projects live, the guy is absolutely phenomenal. They're one of the bands that sound just as good, if not better, live. The drummer at the time, I think it was Tim Armstrong. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure Tim Armstrong was with the band. He was phenomenal. The band just killed it. Then about halfway through the set, I don't remember what song they were playing, but a massive mosh pit just took over the whole center of the amphitheater. This is at Mesa Amphitheater, which is not a huge amphitheater. It's actually one of the perfect places to see concerts because it only holds a few thousand people. So no matter where you are in the amphitheater, you're close to the stage, and you just got a really good view of the band. It was one of my favorite places in Phoenix. Probably my second favorite place in Phoenix to see shows other than Compton Terrace. But so we're there, and the mosh pit just breaks out, and it got big quick. And my girlfriend Jennifer is standing right in front of me, and she takes a shoulder from this big old Indian dude. I mean, a monster dude. And her lip, or her tooth, goes all the way through her lip, and just blood everywhere. Her shirt's covered in blood, and I think she's gonna freak out. I'm kind of freaking out, trying to keep her from freaking out, you know. And then she just gets the biggest smile on her face, and starts screaming about how awesome this concert is. And for weeks after that, anytime somebody brought up her lip or brought up the concert, she would go into this huge story about her war scar from seeing Primus. Killer show. You know, what started off as a really rough start turned into a phenomenal show. Let's see, I still got a few minutes left. Just another quick experience. Corey brought up Ozzfest. He went to the Ozzfest in '97, and it brought up a memory, and I didn't even know this at the time. So I went to the very first Ozzfest. And when I mean the very first Ozzfest, I mean the very first day, the very first Ozzfest ever. Let me look at the date. It was 1996, October 25th, in Phoenix, Arizona at Desert Sky Pavilion. I don't remember if it was called Desert Sky Pavilion at the time. It's gone through a bunch of names. It was a new amphitheater at the time, and it sounded really good. It went on to be a really shitty place to see concerts. But me and my buddy Corey were both about to go in the Navy. This is October. We went in February of '97. The main reason we wanted to go was Ozzy. I'm trying to think who all was playing. I know Slayer, Sepultura, Danzig. Let's see. It was Ozzy, Slayer, Danzig, Sepultura, Fear Factory. It says Biohazard. I don't remember them. Neurosis was the first band that was playing when we got there. I've never been a big Neurosis fan, but they were killing it live, and I really enjoyed their set. Whoever played next, maybe it was Biohazard. We went to get some drinks and to hang out. I liked a couple songs for Biohazard, but I wasn't a big fan of theirs at the time. I did get into them a few years later, but that's a different story. But we wanted to get a little break before Sepultura. We didn't see Fear Factory either because we literally just saw them a few months ago when they opened up for Megadeth, Flotsam and Jetsam, and Korn, which was another killer show. But so we went and got some drinks. And the funny thing, so we get there, we're waiting in line for drinks, and then we look over and there's like 10 skinheads all decked out, They got their suspenders on, they got the boots, their Doc Martens with the white laces, and they're all wearing Slayer shirts. And one of the guy kept calling the Mexican guys walking by beaners. And I'm thinking, they're wearing Slayer shirts. Two, I think, South Americans in the band. One from Argentina. And I'm trying to remember where Lombardo's from. I can't remember where Lombardo's from. But he's South American as well. You know, so they're spouting out disparaging marks to Hispanic people wearing shirts for a band with a Hispanic singer and a Hispanic drummer, which I thought was the most ridiculous thing, the funniest thing I had ever saw. We were just laughing our asses off. And then one of them had a Sepultura shirt on with, you know, all Brazilians. So I thought the whole thing was hilarious. It just shows how boneheaded some of these skinheads are. But anyway, we go out there, and Sepultura came on and absolutely killed it. I'm really glad to have caught that show. That was the only time I saw Sepultura. Once Max left the band, I had no interest in ever seeing the band again. I haven't liked anything that they've put out. I've heard a lot of it, but it's really fortuitous that we decided to go then, because this was the end of October, the beginning of December. Max left the band, and Sepultura, as I knew it and as I loved, was done after that. But they were phenomenal. They just absolutely murdered it. They were followed by Danzig, who was terrible. And I've heard a lot of stories about people seeing Danzig live, and he just wasn't that good. But this was John Christ era Danzig. And you would have thought it would have been good, but the band just wasn't good. It was rough. And I'm a huge Danzig fan. Danzig 4 had just come out. No, I'm sorry. This was the Black Acid Devil tour. So I think John Christ was gone. So, you know, he did Mother, Twisted Cain, How the Gods Kill, and those sounded good. I'm remembering now. I wasn't a fan of Danzig 4 at the time. It ended up growing on me later. But I hated Black Acid Devil. And he played like 4 songs from that album. It just wasn't good. I didn't enjoy it. The next band was Slayer. I'm kind of 50-50 on Slayer. Dave Lombardo had left the band. Was it Tempesta that was on drums, I believe? I could be wrong. He just couldn't do the fills and the drum rolls and stuff that Lombardo could do. And you heard it throughout, and it just left kind of a foul taste in my. It was a good show, don't get me wrong. The band sounded good, but I was a drummer, so that's what I key in on. Dave Lombardo is probably one of my all-time favorite drummers, you know, and I know every beat. And I've seen Lombardo. I saw Lombardo a little bit before that. Before he left the band, I saw them, and he murdered it. Now I've heard later on he wasn't able to do the stuff either, but. Regardless, it was a good show. The songs that he had written with the band, like Gemini, sounded great, but you know, the Lombardo songs just didn't work. And then it ended with Ozzy, and Ozzy was absolutely phenomenal. I think that was one of the best eras for Ozzy. He's just so good at commanding the stage. I ended up seeing him again in 2006 or 2007 at one of the last Ozfests. I guess there were a bunch after that, but 2006 or 2007 at one of the Ozfests, he didn't sound near as good as he did in '96, and just the way he controls the crowd, he does it like no other do, and it was just another amazing show. So that's my response, Andy. I hope you dig the story. Again, everybody, please subscribe to Andy's channel. Take care, VC, and I'll see you soon.